Tynker is an amazing coding platform that students can easily adopt to create fantastic ideas and games and presentations to use with the Makey. Now that we know how to set up our Makey, we're ready to start coding using Tynker. To log in, click on the login button on the top right of the screen. For students, they will be logging in using their Google account, which is the regular account they use to log into their computers. As a teacher, we are going to click on Teacher and then go down to the bottom, the same as the students, and click on the Google. To sign in, we use our first name, full stop, last name, any numbers at education, full stop, nsw.gov.au. This is the same as the student's login. This is your Google account. In Tynker, you can see on the teacher's dashboard, you can add a class. That's what we're going to do first, so that we can get all of the class organized. To add a class, there are multiple ways. If you would like to link to your Google Classroom that you've already set up for managing students, you can click on the link to the Google Classroom and sign in and allow. This will provide Tynker access to Google Classrooms that you've already set up. So I can choose my classroom name and the year group that we'll be working with. You can see now that I can create lessons. I'll have a grade book, the projects that the students in that class have created, and I can then moderate the students from this point. A second way to create a classroom is by adding a class and setting the class up manually. We would enter the class name and choose a year group. Now, if students have already signed into Tynker, you can provide a class code for them so that they can join your class. You may even want to add the student emails as a second option. If you would like to keep your students' names and personal details private, you are able to auto-generate a username and password for the student. Let's demonstrate this. So we click on Auto Generate and click Next. We can click the whole class, or today we're going to choose 5 students. Now we can give a username prefix. So if you're using multiple classes with this option, you can choose the class name. And by generating the username and password, you can see that no personal details have been shared with anyone. They will have a username that they can log in with and a password. And when I click Finish, my 10 students have been added. Now, when I go into Students for this class, you can see that they have the potential to use a Smart Pass, which is a QR code to jump into Tynker, or I can edit so I can give the students actual initials so I know which student is which login, but I do not have to provide any of their personal details. So that is an option if you would like to keep all of the usernames and logins private. Now, to get started, we can create a project. Students have the option to use all of these templates to start creating, or to create a blank block coding project. I'm going to use the blank block coding project today, but as you can see, if students are past the block coding option, you can move into Python, Java, HTML, and many other options. Now, this is our first screen in Tynker. There are a couple of things that I would do with my class. The first one is to change the name of my project. So this is going to be a test, and it's the first test, so it's going to be test 1. Now I can go over here to the Save button and to the drop-down menu and click Auto Save. This will allow students' work to save automatically the whole time through their coding project. I'll click on all of the code that is there and hit delete. And now I have an empty base to start with. Now, as a teacher, if I have a tutorial in mind that I would like to work with the students, I can click the book at the top of the page with the plus and create a tutorial myself. I can create a tutorial based on a project or create a tutorial with a blank project. I would give the tutorial a name. And a description. And start. Now you can see here my tutorial is in edit mode. I can select actors that will be placed on the stage. I can type in with different fonts instructions. I can add block placeholders, and this will allow the students to pull the blocks from the tutorial to use them in their coding. I can record audio instructions, so for students that are struggling to read long paragraphs of information, it can be read to them. I can add tutorial templates that have already been created by Tynker. So you can see here that the first thing I would do is to add a coding area. So attached becomes the coding area template. I might then add a background, and you can see the instructions for adding a background appear in my tutorial. I can also add pictures. So if I have taken a screen grab of the coding in the coding area, and I would like the students to know more about that, I can place that in their template. To get extra pages, I can go to the plus at the bottom of the screen. To duplicate the page, I can hit the plus with the box around the outside, and if I'd like to delete this page, I would hit the trash button. So Tynker has the ability to personalize and create tutorials for your students. If this is the first time you've used Tynker and you're not ready to create your own tutorials yet, there are many coding experiences that students can complete. Depending on the age and stage, you have many options. Now you'll notice on my page that my account is free. If you're looking for a paid account that includes lots of the curriculum documents, that is step-by-step elements of coding, you can go to the STEM T4L library, and under the tab Coding Kit, you can apply for a pro subscription for Tynker. If you're looking for specific activities relating to classwork, I would go to the Resources tab and Hour of Code resources. The Hour of Code resources are lessons that can be completed in 1 hour. There are many coding projects in block coding or text coding. There's also activities based on the UN Global Goals and NASA Space. As you scroll through the lessons, you'll see some lessons have a voiceover of instructions and others just information. My favourite, if you scroll down to the bottom, are the coding projects Life on Land and Affordable Clean Energy. And you'll notice there is a teacher guide attached to these. So the students will have a tutorial to work through, and the teacher, a teacher guide that you can download and read all of the information about the project. The courses under the Coding and STEAM curriculum have been developed for students to interact in a game-based way. For teachers that are starting out with coding, this is a fantastic starter course to allow the knowledge and understanding of programming concepts within lessons. You'll notice that there is a description to what the class is based on. You'll have your lessons that are in game format, and the teacher will be provided an answer key so that if the students are struggling, the teacher will know how to fix any of their struggles. There is also class presentations. Now the class presentations will provide a slideshow of all the basics relating to the coding within that lesson. Let's have a look at what they look like. You can see within the lessons, there's information on what the students will complete, blocks of coding that they will use, and an explanation of what that block does and how to use it. This will enable teachers to learn with the students why you use specific blocks and how to use them. When you've signed in to the Tynker license from the STEM T4L library page, the next time you log into Tynker, you'll notice that it comes up with New South Wales Department of Education at the bottom and under your name instead of free. This will allow you access to all of the coding and STEAM curriculum. As you can see, in the Pro version, there are now lots of different options that I didn't have before. Now this is under the high school plan, so if you're at a high school, you'll have all of these options. If you're at a primary school, you'll choose the K-8 plan and have all of their coding courses available. If you would like to match it to scope and sequences or curriculum standards, you can click on the scope and sequence and find out which key skills and concepts match different lessons and different coding activities. For now, I'm going to show you an example of using the Makey and Tynker together. We have a stage, and on that stage we have actors. And you can see there is a long list of actors. The code is created for each actor. So that I could use the Makey as my controller for the scene, I've added some animals. For my animals, I've used the buttons of the Makey, and you can see there's an orange tile that states when an up arrow is pressed. Now I've added a stop all sounds so that if any other buttons have been pressed and the characters make noise, then all of the noises will stop and the sound recording of my object will play. I've also used a show and hide block so that on the start, the characters are not seen and will appear after I press the specific button on my Makey. I've created 4 characters that you'll be able to see: a snake, a parrot, a frog, and a butterfly. Let's have a look and see how it works together. I'm going to make my screen bigger by pressing the arrow button so that we can see the scene full screen. If I press the play button, we'll be able to then interact with the buttons on the Makey and see the coding occurring. So it asks us to click the buttons on the Makey to find our hidden animals. So I'll press the up arrow first. You can hear the sound, see the words, and the snake appears. Let's click on the down arrow. The parrot appears and flies across the screen. Let's look at the right arrow. We have a butterfly and a frog on the left arrow. So you can see how simple and easy it is to control characters within our story by using coding and the Makey.
This video is part of a series of support videos all about the kit that you have borrowed. To find the other videos in this series, head to the Learning Library and visit the kit page for the equipment you've borrowed. You can also find the full list of support videos for all of our kit on the YouTube channel. You can also join us in the Yammer community. If you have any questions or you'd like to ask teachers how they've used the equipment in their classroom, then why not join us on the STEM T4L Facebook community? It's a closed group. You can ask teachers how they've used the equipment and also share the work samples that your students have created.